And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here with you this morning, and I am joined by Rhonda Greer from the Christian Children's Home, and actually from Encompass, which is a ministry of the Christian Children's Homes of Ohio. You work with adoption and foster care services. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning.
And I think we should say that November is National Adoption Month. That's why you're here. So we want to talk to you basically about Encompass and what kinds of services you offer.
Well, Encompass is a ministry of the Christian Children's Home of Ohio, and our Encompass services actually are the foster care, adoption, and the counseling portion of Christian Children's Home of Ohio.
And what does that mean in particular as far as to families who might be hearing this and thinking that they have been wrestling with this idea as to whether or not to adopt or perhaps foster a child?
I would say to families who have been thinking about stepping up to take care of a child through foster care or adoption that this would be a good time to move forward. Encompass offers the support, the training that families need to be able to meet the needs of the children in the foster care system. And we are there to walk through the process with you from the very beginning, from the inquiry all the way through the adoption process and even beyond.
I think that's really important because I think parents who are very interested in doing this, they're afraid of the logistics, but you say that you will be with them. You've got their backs from the beginning through beyond the end, right? There's not really an end.
There's not really an end because we continue to be there for families through either outpatient counseling, home-based counseling, where we go right into the home and work with the family, or the adoption support groups that happen monthly. And then we offer referral services. We check on our families. Even after the child is adopted, we will check on our families at least yearly to see how they're doing and offer any kind of services that might be necessary to help that child within that family.
What makes a great adoptive family, Rhonda?
A great adoptive family is someone who enjoys children, someone who is compassionate and has empathy for the things that another person has gone through, and someone especially who is willing to work as a team to be able to support that child.
How important is it that existing children in the home are also really on board with this idea?
Well, I think it's good to consider everyone that is living within the home. When we are working with a family for their home study process, which is a matter of basically getting to know that family and then, making sure that we do the background checks and things like that. We're looking within the family, too, to see how every member in the family is going to be affected by bringing someone new into the family. So by the time that the family's home study is completed and we know the family, they have considered the types of children that they might best be able to serve in their family, then the next step is the matching process. And during the matching process, we look at the needs of the child that is coming into the home, compare that with the strengths in the home, and we try to make very good matches so that while we're helping the child that we're bringing into the house, we're not harming a child that's already there.
Right. What are your greatest needs as far as families who are looking to adopt?
Our greatest needs are for people who are willing to take children who maybe have some behavioral or emotional issues, and we're looking for families who would take the older kids, and we're looking for families who can take the sibling group.
Okay, and let's go back now. You said really needing families to take a child who has some emotional issues because of going from foster home to foster home, or who knows what they were subjected to before they even entered the foster care system. We just don't know. Some of these children come from really, really heartbreaking backgrounds. And I think that's what makes some people afraid. They're afraid to bring a child who might be acting out some anger issues into a home with their birth children. So what would you say to that family?
I would say that that we would work closely with the family and be careful about the placements that we would put in their home. And what we do is we let the family know as much as we know ourselves about that child and their emotional needs and their behaviors. And then the foster family or the adoptive family, they make their own decision about whether or not that each particular child would work well in their family.
Do you do things with medical records? I know there's a heartbreaking statistic of how many crack babies are born, for example. Children born to drug addicts or an addicted mother. How can a family step in and really give that child the best possible life?
Well, one of the first things that we do in the process is we prepare our families through training. And we train our families to be able to deal with kids that have experienced trauma. Every child who comes into the foster care system has experienced some form of trauma. We help the families to understand what it's like for a child to be separated from everything that they know and to be able to support that child. And it's amazing. We've been able to bear witness to the amazing difference that children have experienced once they know that they have someone that is truly supporting them and caring for them and meeting their needs.
We're speaking with Rhonda Greer. She's from Encompass. It's a Christian counseling, foster care, and adoption services affiliated with the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. Thinking logistically about being an adoptive or a foster family, first thing that comes to my mind are smoke alarms. Are there other things and I know you do a home visit and kind of go through a home and make sure that everything is just at its very best for this new member. What kinds of nuts and bolts things do a family need to think about, like smoke alarms?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that because we're not looking for perfect families. We're not looking for perfect homes. But we're looking for homes that would be safe. And we do check to make sure that people have a smoke alarm on each level of living space in their home. Families need to have a fire extinguisher available in their home in case of a fire. And we just look to make sure that the home is safe, actually.
And that's the physical appearance of the home. Then what kinds of things do you need to know about that home and that home life before a family would be selected to be a home, to be a forever family for one of your children?
We look at how they solve problems, and we look at the strengths within the family system, and we kind of find out, what things what behaviors really don't bother you, and what types of behaviors really do irritate you, because everyone's not the same, and we try to match our families with the kids and their personalities that are coming into care.
So neat. That's got to be so rewarding.
Well, it is. It's very rewarding to be able to see a child that has been abused and neglected and traumatized to come into a home where they are feeling supported, and not only are they just living, but they're actually thriving within that home, and that is a wonderful thing to see.
I know of so many happy endings that we've gotten to see. You tell us of some of the happy endings that you've gotten to see. There've got to be some wonderful success stories that have come from your work.
We have many success stories, but just a couple is that in February we were able to finalize an adoption of a 16-year-old, and he had finally found a family that really just truly appreciated him and appreciated his personality, his sense of humor, and they're helping him with, he does not have delays in learning, but he missed a lot of school early on, and so he's catching up, and he has now a family that's really helping him to be able to do well within the school system. We have another young man that was adopted just a few months before he turned 18, and it was really important for him that we would be able to finalize his adoption before he turned 18. He saw that he was going to need parents beyond the age of 18 when he legally could be out on his own, but he knew that he was going to need that support base. And he was so very happy on the day that we finalized his adoption just a few months before his 18th birthday.
That's wonderful. How awesome and mature of him to realize I still need parents. That's
Yes,
a lot of 18-year-olds might be thinking I am out of here, but he knew he needed that influence, and only good things are going to come from that. What about singles, Rhonda? Can a single person provide an adoptive or a foster home for a child?
Absolutely. We're looking for single parent homes. We're looking for married couples. And with a single, you would look at their child care plan, because if they're working full-time outside the home, then we just need to make sure that they have a good child care plan for that child.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's got to be somebody listening, and this is something that's been on their heart. Want to give you an opportunity to push them off the fence and into your office to be actually meeting with you and meeting potential children and a new member of their family. So what would you say to someone who's considering being an adoptive or a foster care family? What would you say to them right now?
I would say, take the first step and just give me a call, and we can talk about the questions that you might have, any hesitations that you might have. And I'm reminded of the Psalm 41 that says, "Blessed is the man who considers the helpless," because that's what we're doing. We are stepping out in faith to help the helpless, the children that have been abused or neglected or hurt by the very people that should have cared about them and protected them and cared for them. Mm-hmm. And it's a very rewarding ministry.
Certainly is. It certainly is a calling, isn't it? It takes a special person to step up and open their home to someone, but isn't that what we're told is true religion, to care for the widows and the orphans and to open their home to someone who, the most vulnerable of our society, and we certainly thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, so thank you very much for the opportunity to let people know of the great need in Ohio.
We've been speaking with Rhonda Greer. She's from Encompass Christian Counseling, Foster Care, and Adoption Services through the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. You can go to their website, www.encompasscenters, all spelled out there in lowercase, .org. And may I give this phone number, Rhonda, or what is a phone number where people could reach you?
330-345-7949, and my extension is 2336.
We'll be back with more. You're listening to Our Community.